Hello everyone, welcome back to the table. I really tried to get the camera lifted up and limit the wiggling, but this box is too big. So I finally got this today. A Most Fearful Sacrifice from Flying Pig Games. It's a game by Herman Luttman, and I've looked at this game previously sometime a while ago when it was just released out in the like a prototype, and it got sent to me and a couple other folks, and I got to preview it a little bit. I helped with the Kickstarter campaign, and so I got sent a copy. So I'm so excited. This game, it's truly amazing. And the thing is, though, it's just a huge box, which if you have followed any kind of other people's unboxings and things, you've seen it's huge. If we look at the back, and it's heavy too. We have a rule book. It's an insightful rule book, by the way. Absorbing scenario book versus just a scenario book, along with Reynolds Lives variant. Nice. 2 lush game mats. Now, the maps, when you put the entire 2 maps together, you get about 15 square feet of map, which for me, that's quite a bit. In fact, I don't think I can play this game here in its entirety on my current table space. I'll have to go down to the local game shop and try playing where I can lay it out. But then you get the thickly cut, beautiful 13 by 16 inch counter sheets, or 4 of those. 1 informative 5/8 counter sheet for administrative markers. 90 poker-sized playing cards, the cold and the steam-fired game engine, 2 play easing player aids, each containing a play summary, combat results tables, terrain effects, charts, orders of battle, and you probably can't even see it there, 2 impressive command displays, and then 6 dice, 2 red, 2 black, 2 white. Well, we'll have to look, because some of the comments I've seen coming in post following up the Kickstarter, people have said like they're missing some of the play aids. So we'll look. Oh, this thing is just so heavy. So this was something I remember just reminiscing. The butternut scotch, that'd probably be good. Butternut squash uniform color, because I had made a comment, you know, why aren't we putting the Union Gray? Because at the time, that's just historically what I was familiar with. And apparently butternut squash was probably the more prevalent color. Just mostly what you see in movies and TV was the gray. I mean, who wants to watch a movie about the blue and brown? You know, but blue and gray, something about that just sounds more appealing. But it's what we went for, and it's reflected in the game. I'm okay with that. I've gotten used to seeing the butternut squash color now, and we're okay with that. So take this off. I did pull the shrink wrap because that'd be easier to do off camera. Okay, so I have here some paperwork put together. Let's take a peek at some of this. Oh, you know, and someone had pointed this out. I didn't know we were putting this in here, but this is really cool. So Rick Barber, here's a little memorial for him. I won't read all of this for you, but that's actually very cool. He's done a lot of maps for a lot of war games, and I mean, I wish I knew more about his history. But that's pretty neat. We dedicate a Most Fearful Sacrifice to his memory. And from what I understand, is this was one of the last maps that he did. So I'm not sure if this was the last map or one of the last. So we were very fortunate and honored to have that. So that's very cool that that's in here. Then we have some of the paperwork. Yeah, let me just slide this over a little bit. So here's the scenario book, and I think at this point it might be safe to zoom in a little bit because I know I am not going to get that map out here, and the box is just too big. But yeah, this is good. I'm trying to remember, like, does this feel different than what I had in the prototype copy? But, ooh, it has that new game smell to it as well. But yeah, there's a lot of scenarios in here. So believe it or not, there's a lot of fighting that you can do around Gettysburg. I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear it. My son got an accordion today. I don't know where that came from. I mean, it came from the store where he ordered it from, but I mean, like, but it almost seems appropriate for background music if you can hear it. We said you can't practice it in the house, go outside. So he's like right outside my window. Thanks, buddy. Alright, so there we go. Now, there is, okay, like I said, you got 15 square feet of gaming because it lays out to be like 3 by 5 feet. But you can see, like right here, if you can tell, this particular scenario takes up one wee bitty spot on the map. So some of these I probably could play on my table with a little bit of creative map manipulations, but we'll have to see about that later. They look very thorough with lots of scenario rules. Definitely going to be great for someone who's very familiar with Gettysburg. I have very limited knowledge on Civil War gaming and specifically Gettysburg, which is why, you know, I was happy to get this. I started in miniature gaming, if you've watched the channel at all, but this game is to the point where I could probably adapt these rules to miniatures because it's a really good rule set. I was just looking here, going back some of the maps. Some of these are playing in like a centralized area. Again, I would have to peek and see, like here's a bigger map portion. There's the whole map. But yeah, Herman Lutman spent a lot of time researching this, and I think you'll find a very accurate game for Gettysburg. But again, I don't have an expert opinion. There's another small section of the map. Here's another. I can't say that's the full map because it looks like it's one half of the map in its entirety. But yeah, if you don't have a big table, I don't have a big table. Here's one that looks like the entire. There's all 3 by 5 feet worth of map. And let's see, what was that scenario? The enemy is here. Well, it takes up the whole map, so that might be it. And then we go back to taking small sections of the map, which I'll definitely have to find a small section one to play. And then here's another full map. Yeah, so here you got like reinforcement schedules by hour, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Yeah, the reinforcement schedule. So I think that this will probably satisfy a majority of, you know, Civil War gamers that have knowledge beyond what I have. I think that would be a very good experience. Here's the rules. And the rules are not overly complicated either. I know when I had the game for a short time to kind of play through, I read through. Plus the rules have been online for a little while. So if you followed the campaign at all, you could have gone to the Flying Pig website and downloaded the rules to read through them. I don't know, I haven't compared since I just got this open. I don't know how different this is versus what's online right now. They should be pretty much the same. But going off my memory, that would be terrible to try and explain how the game plays right now. So I'm just flipping through the rules and, you know, giving you an idea what it looks like here. I like it, 2 columns. It's the glossy paper. Here we got, there's some rules there for assault combat. Kind of reading through here. So we're at 21 pages right now. Rally, end of phase, entrenchment, overnight game turns, skirmish, hex groups, victory determination. And then the last few pages, so that the rules, you could say, probably stop at page 25. And then we have a comprehensive example of play, and that's going to be a few pages there. Comprehensive, yeah, I see a lot of text there. And then we got game credits. Oh man, I didn't make it in there. Well, wait, yep, nope. I was hoping I got in here. That's alright. Okay, so then we have the play aids. So again, there was a couple folks that mentioned on like the Kickstarter comments they were missing stuff, the play aid. So I'm not quite sure exactly how this is supposed to look to make sure I have everything. But here I've got a scenario setup card, which I didn't have before. So this is nice. I think previously I just went by the scenario book. So having these order of battle layout cards, I think, will make it easier to put everything together. Got a little turn track. Great. And then this is a... Okay, so this is something else too. Yeah, the table here is pretty condensed and everything looks kind of small. It's not so bad when you get used to it, but I am getting older. And if I remember, I believe we did release some files on Board Game Geek that are larger text that I'm going to probably go through, download, and grab as well. But here's like your primary combat chart, the ranges, the modifiers here, fire combat cohesion, and assault combat. So when I play tested this, I went to my friend's house to play, and I had forgotten the chart. Brilliant, right? And what I did was I had my wife come in to the office. I call it an office. It's, you know, really everything room at this point. Work from home, everything's an office. But I had her come in and take a picture, and she sent me the picture to me and my friend on our phones. And so we played with this chart off our phones. And that's a much smaller screen. So I'm here to tell you that, yes, it may look small and cramped, but if I can play it off a cell phone, you can play it off the chart. So, but I do believe we got some larger print documents you can download if that is indeed a little too small or inconvenient for you to play with. Now, this was something I believe it came a little bit later into the development where I was putting together some gameplay type videos, and Herman Lutman was giving feedback. And he asked me, because I had some questions on the terrain. The terrain, it's maybe not this one. I think there was an older terrain chart which was mostly all text, and I guess it kind of looked like this up here, just all text, and then it had like an example hex of what they're talking about. But when we got to talking, and he said, you know, there's some other people that weren't sure on some of the terrain types too. Would it be good if we had a visual terrain chart? And I said, yes. That way, you know, yeah, I could go look at a map and find it, but if it's all on one chart, that would be so much more convenient. So you got clear, rocky, because as you can tell, there's quite a few different terrain types. And I think they eventually made this a Kickstarter stretch goal, I think, but well worth it. Much easier to see everything on one page. And then on the back here, another player aid. Sequence of play. Oh, okay, so this is good. So you got player aid, sequence of play, some admin charts here, and then on the back terrain. All right, great. Yeah, I think maybe some of the questions came in as like, should we have had 2 of these so you could give one to each player? Like I said, I'm not quite entirely sure how the player aid charts were supposed to break down. So, but that's what I've got. I just set them up over here. Then we had a Union player. Now again, without remembering exactly how the game plays, what I do remember is you get these cards and you kind of draw, and it has like a priority listing on them, and you like put down like, you know, first priority, I want this division of this corps would go, and then when you roll a die, it lets you know like how many of the divisions on the corps will activate. So when you're looking at your cards that have all the different divisions on them, you're like, well, I really want to try and move this group first, so I'll make them priority. And then you have a die roll you make, and based on the die roll, you either get to activate all 3 or just 1. It might sound weird the way I'm explaining this because I haven't looked at this for over a year, but when I played, I was like, this is a good system. And why I thought this would work great with miniatures. Like, this is a great system for running a miniatures game. So that was one thought I had. So here's another Union. And again, the same thing. Here they are broken down by corps. Then they have divisions that you can assign under them. And, you know, basically it's you got to decide which of these divisions do I want to move, because typically you can only really, unless you roll really well, activate 1, maybe 2 divisions under a corps. So if you had all 3, you have to decide which ones are my most, important ones to activate. So I thought that was a fun aspect of the game. It plays out really well. Here's one Confederate display. And yeah, 1, and I think one of the questions was, should there be 2? I don't know. I think this is it. You get 1 for the Confederates. So there you go. Crushed box, broken box. Did I notice that on these? Yeah, here we go. Here's one of the Union ones, and it's got your crushed box, broken box, and hex group boxes. Great. So I think the Confederates are going to be running in here with 3 corps and then several divisions. But they typically ran really big divisions. If my memory serves me well from the miniature games I play, Confederates just bring lots of people. Alright, so then we have some counter sheets. So here's one. Oh, now my daughter's at the door screaming for the cat. Alright. Alright, so, oh yeah, these are good quality. I'm going to pop one out. Oh, that comes out real nice, and it's got the pre-rounded corners. Although part of me is really wanting to go ahead and round them again anyway. Yeah, that's just how I am. Although what I think I'll do is, if this is the right size, I will I got some double-sided tape, and what I typically do, and I don't know if it will work here for this game, but I'll put like cardstock on the back of the counter here, and then basically you pop the counter out, and then when you're done playing, you put the piece right back here in the counter sheet. So the counter sheet becomes the counter tray, essentially. I might do that with here, because the backside shouldn't be anything totally different than what's on the front, except it's like the reduced strength side. And then this will help keep things organized. Yeah, I can see like here's 12th. I think it's goes by division, so 12th division. And then the different, well, maybe it's the corps, 12 corps, and then the different leaders. I don't remember how it breaks down the organization, but I know these dots represent how many counters are with that unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If he's got 3, it's these 3 typically. 1, 2, 3. Tikal's got 3, but I don't see, or who's that? McDougal, Lockwood. Where's the other Oh, there's a McDougal. Anyway, so there's some of the Union. There's some of the administrative counters, which I might zoom the camera in here a little bit for you, just so you can see the artwork. Because yeah, the camera being high up, can't really see a whole lot. So let's bring that camera down here. And I thought the artwork turned out well, even on the kind of the initial prototypes. The artwork, the counters don't look anything different than what the prototype was. The prototype was a really nice, slick package that they did. I got some kind of a little bit of a coloration going through here, but I don't know why I noticed that, but I noticed it. But it's not bad though. Anyway, you can see your infantry, and if you have really good eyesight and you can get in there, on some of these you can tell like they're wearing specific uniforms too, which is nice. Like, so here's some of the SWAV units with their red pants. So the units are, a lot of this is probably copy paste art, but then some of them have a little bit of tweaks to set them apart from other units, right? You're going to see a lot of duplicated stuff, but it's kind of cool that some of them have some specific uniforms to their unit, like the SWAVs. That's kind of neat. Artillery, and then a whole bunch more infantry. Alright, here's the administrative counter sheet. Bivouacs, skirmish orders, victory point hexes, artillery moved markers, hasty works. Yeah, alright, administrative markers. Now these are not punch out. These are traditional cuts, so I'm going to have to definitely pop these out trim them, and then I'll have to find a storage solution. I don't want to just stick them in plastic baggies, but that may be how they end up. But here's the administrative markers. They are a little bit smaller. Ooh, but they're cut nice. I'll have to, obviously get in here and cut them all at some point, but just a couple of ones I pushed on, they were just popping right out, just ready to break apart and be run through the corner clipper. All right, here comes some more. Well, we've got a lot of Union. So yeah, if there's only one Confederate sheet for managing troops, I guess that makes sense, because there's not as many Confederate counters here as there are Union. So definitely have a lot more Union soldiers upside down. So here's the first set of Confederate, and then wrapping up the Union forces here. And then finally a full sheet of Confederate in their butternut squash. Now the Confederates are definitely a lot more colorful. Some of these I can see definitely have multicolored, different colored pants throughout. It was, to my understanding, a lot more difficult for the South to be supplied with a consistent uniform. So it was not uncommon to see folks walking around in like pajama pants, or at least they look like pajama pants. I've seen all kinds of pants on reenactors, but I can see here on some of the counters that there is some variation. Like this guy's got red, he's got brown, red, brown. So even though that might be a copy-paste picture, it's the fact that they've got different colors, pants and shirts and stuff among them. Anyway, there you go, full sheet of Confederates. Then we have your dice. 2 red, 2 black, 2 white. And then we have cards, and they're packed loosely. They're packed, with the peel. Nice. Thank you for that. I struggle with those tightly shrink-wrapped card sets, so this is most appreciated. Oh, yeah. And I remember this was a stretch goal. I think there might have been like 1 or 2 people that were like, why would you have that as a stretch goal? These are like the linen-backed cards, and it feels great. These feel very nice. Oh, you can feel like the linen on them. It's not really like clothing linen, but it's that kind of a nice textured finish to the cards. That feels great. Yeah, these feel like a really nice set of playing cards, actually. They're a little thin. I mean, they're not like super thick, but I mean, it's a nice. They're not playing cards, but here you got your leaders, replacements, and this is what you would activate. So like if I've got, well, here's a replacement general. He's the 11th Corps. He's an inept replacement. But what you would do is you would have this guy out on your table somewhere, and then you would have your corresponding attached divisions that would be on that table, that playing mat we looked at earlier. Then when I go to activate, I would roll, and this guy would, on a 1 or 2, there's no orders, or on the 3 or 4, he could activate one of his brigades from the division, or there's another one brigade from deployment position 1, and 1 hex of Osborne artillery, and this is a division priority 1, and then Osborne artillery. Yeah, so that's a little bit of what I remember. We'll have to get this back out, relearn it, and then play some games. So, Army of the Potomac. And I still can't say some of these location names. That's why I'm not a Civil War expert. I won't ever claim to be. I just enjoy Civil War gaming a whole lot. Command coordination, rebel march fatigue. Just slightly offset. I mean, I'm not going to be that upset about it. It's not detracting from the ability to actually use the card, but you notice little things like that. But otherwise, some of these are just spot on with the centering of the cards, but they feel so good. These cards feel nice. I know, I never thought I'd be so excited to hold these type of linen finished cards. I'll put them back in the plastic later, so I'll just set those there. And then we have faulty fuses. Well, what was some of these? Come on. And again, thank you for the mostly easy open plastic here. Ah, yes. 3 days of Gettysburg. All 3 days, not 1 day, devil to pay, but all 3. All right. I guess these fall in line with the Confederate due to the butter squash coloring. There's your fog of war. Yep, here's Confederate Army. Friction of war cards. So yeah, I would not be surprised, and yeah, that's why there's one play mat for the Confederates. It's just, I honestly thought they brought a whole lot of people to Gettysburg, but again, the organization's different. I think their divisions and their brigades and things were a lot more top heavy with men, so they weren't broken down as much as the Unions were. But yeah, there they are. Nice. And again, they feel great. Perfect. Then, I believe the last 2 items in here are the super big maps. Yeah, 2 maps. So I'm not going to pull them both out because they are huge. They take up, the maps alone take up over half the box as far as the height. But just to give you an idea, look how gorgeous this map is. This to me is incredibly well done. When I saw this map, I mean, I fell in love with that. It was like, this is awesome. And what made me laugh, I have to admit, it made me chuckle, was I took this to my friend, and when I had the prototype copy, so we could kind of play a game and get some to test it out, and he was like, yeah, I don't like it. And I'm like, oh, what could you not like about this? He says, well, a lot of the text isn't all in the same direction. So here you've got D Lady is this way. This here, Benner's Hill is written that way, and he mentioned on a couple creeks elsewhere, you know, the text was written a different way, so there wasn't like one consistent writing. I wish I could find some more here, but yeah, I was like, oh, I hadn't really noticed that till you pointed out. Yeah, see, like, so here's the creek goes along this way, follows the creek, but then, you know, the name of the road goes that way, and this little area is written this way, so the text is shifted depending on what, so there wasn't a consistent text facing, and I hadn't even noticed that till he pointed it out, and I was like, well, I still like it. So, and even to this day, now that I can't unsee that, I still like it. I mean, these are just ginormous maps, but they look so good. And doing the elevation changes and things are actually real easy to determine. That was something that Herman Luttman had to explain to me a little bit more. So there's like from here, there's a contour line, but there's none of the stippling to show you how steep it is. So that's like a gentle rise, and there's like a medium rise. And there's some around here that have really long hash marks that come out, and that means that it's still a rise, but it's a fairly gentle rise. Anyway, it's once you understand how the map works, it's just done gorgeously. Very easy to tell what is what. Here's some of those long hash marks. So here's a change in elevation, but because these lines come down, they're so long, it indicates a very gradual rise. And then in some of these areas, you'll see the lines are a lot shorter, so that's more straight up. Yeah, so good map, I think. Okay, well, you know, this has been a pretty long unboxing, so we'll reverse box it. You got your 2 maps, which I set over here in the box. 2 big maps that I can't fully unfold to show you them in all their glory. I got the dice. I have 2 packs of cards. So here's your Union forces and the generals, there. I'll just set them off to the side. Then you have the Confederates over here. Oh, here's a faulty fuse that wound up over there. But then you have your Confederate cards. Then we have several sheets. It looks like it was 4 sheets of the infantry and artillery. But you had 1 for the Confederates. And I'll just put them in here. Let me rotate this around. Everything does fit. I just got to shift it a moment. There we go. And then we had a counter sheet that had some remaining Union and maybe start of the Confederates. Then we had 1 sheet of the admin counters just waiting to pop off. Like every time I touch it, they start to separate, which is good because I hate when they're all stuck together and they peel and rip the paper off the back. And then we got Union. And again, these are ready. They just pop out. I mean, it's great. Already pre-rounded for you. Like I said, probably the only thing I'll do for these is if I got the right size card stock, I'll tape it to the back. And then I'll just use these as the actual counter trays. Then some Confederates and some more admin. These are like shaken and all units shaken. So partially shaken and all shaken, not stirred. Here's your Confederate display sheet, which I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the one because there are a lot fewer Confederate forces in play than the Unions. And the Union, they have a lot more corps out there, and then your brigades. So there you go. That's one of them. And then here's the other 2 of those. Then we get into some of the play aids and support. So this was a player aid that had like the sequence of play. It looks like a lot. I mean, it looks like quite segmented, but it does play very quickly. That I do remember. Once my friend and I kind of got a hang and a flow of the game, it flows really well. So don't let that be an intimidation factor. And then same with like combat. When we look at the combat chart, it's really not that bad. It looks like there's a lot there, only because it gives you a lot of granularity in combat results. So it's more than just simply saying, you know, shot, flip it to a morale broken side, and you know, but it gives you some granularities in the combat results, and it's very much appreciated. And then we have the terrain chart with the pictures of the terrain. And then here you've got your combat chart. There's combat with close combat results. And then on the back, combat event tables, and then close fight resolution tables. And then here, like I said, this I think was new as well. I don't remember this in the prototype, but it was your order of battle scenario setup guides. So that looks like it'll be very helpful to find everybody. So very appreciative of that. And there you go. That's the whole thing. I put the cover. Oh wait, don't forget this. You got the rule book, and then you got a scenario book. And I hope this continues to come in all of them, but a Rick Barber memorial. And finally, the cover, which again, I had to put the camera way up just to try and even capture most of this. And oh, that's tight. Get out of there, air. Yeesh. And I got to lift it up here, but even then it still doesn't fit. So that is a look at, I was going to say a quick look, but probably much longer than I ever intended it to be, but A Most Fearful Sacrifice. So excited that it's here. I can't wait to start playing again. And you know, if you got it, let me know what you think. Are you excited? Are you happy with it? I definitely am very much happy with it. I'm going to go to Board Game Geek and see if I can see if they did put up the files for the larger font size stuff, because I just realized that yeah, I'm getting to that age where I need bigger font. Bigger is better, as my wife says. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on another video.